Hello, welcome to part 7 of the Johnny Blender 3 series. In this series, we're going to go, in this section, we're going to go ahead and add the arms and hands, and we'll see where we get to from there. Shouldn't take too long. The fingers and such might take a little while, but anyways, let's go ahead and jump in here, tab into edit mode, and we're going to just put our 3D cursor up here somewhere. Shift A, and we're going to add a cylinder. And do the same thing we've done on the legs. Don't need 32 vertices, so let's set that down to 8. And depth, don't need to worry about. Radius, we can just scale that down about like so. Okay, now let's go ahead and just grab this and start arranging it to where it needs to go. And go ahead and grab the end here and drag it out to maybe about right there. And then let's go ahead and add a couple of loops. Actually, let's just add one right here to act as the elbow. Then we'll go to top view. Actually, we need to grab the whole thing. Control L. Let's go ahead and move that back to where it lines up on the shoulder where it needs to go. And we'll grab that loop there. Just hold down Alt and right click there. And it grabs that. We'll just move it back a little bit to act as a bend in the arm. And then as you can see, the actual model itself is not really following the vertices too well. So let's go ahead and add another loop right there just to get it a little sharper angle there. And let's go ahead and do the same thing up here on the shoulder. And then like we did at the top of the legs, like we did there, let's go ahead and make this taper a little bit, scale that up some. That's probably good. Okay, and now we will go ahead and start working on the hand area. Not sure how this is going to work being a bunch of triangles like that. Let's see if we can, yeah, let's turn this into some four-sided polygons, squares instead of triangles. So let's just grab two of these, and we're going to Control F. Is that right? Control F, and make a face. There we go. Grab those. Alt F also. No, does not. Okay, Control F. Just F by itself. All right. Some of the keyboard shortcuts change, or I remember them incorrectly. But anyways, let's go ahead and do the same thing up here at the top just for uniformity. Grab these, F, 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 F. Okay. Now remember to select more than one face at a time. You just hold down Shift. So, okay, now let's jump in here, grab these faces here, face select mode, and I'm going to go ahead and extrude out a little bit, scale it up a tiny bit, and this will act as the hand. And if you put your arms out to your side, normally your palms are going to face forward. A lot of models I see have the palms facing down, but for anatomically correctness, if you will, even though it's a stylized character, the joints and things, I think, in my opinion, should still be, you know, correct for the most part. So feel free to model as you see fit, but I'm going to model this to where the palms are facing forward like this. So if they're facing down, that means the forearm has been rotated, and that's just not the default natural pose of an arm. So anyways, if that makes sense. Okay, so quit dawdling and go ahead and finish out this hand here. Now, this would be an easy way to make just a two-fingered hand, but for cartoon's sake, we need probably at least 3 fingers, unless, you know, it's a monster, so you're doing a Ninja Turtle or something like that. This would work fine. Just grab these, extrude them out, boom, you got your 2 fingers. But we're not making a Ninja Turtle, we're making a Johnny Blender. So what we can do is just grab all of these faces here and just go ahead and extrude it out just a little bit and then scale it. Let's go ahead and turn off the proportional editing. Sometimes that hinders more than helps, but we'll scale this down, and then let's go ahead and scale it up like this. And let's grab the vertex, select, and grab each one of these sides here and go ahead and scale those towards each other. And now we have, move these back some, kind of have a way to make a pinky there, and then, you know, a forefinger there and middle finger here or something. But it's actually a good way to make 4 fingers, I guess. Might as well. Go ahead and give him 4 fingers. This will be the pinky. We'll just start off giving each one of these sort of just a beginning. Like so. And let's go ahead and just go to our side view again. Let's kind of straighten this up to where it's rounded out a little better. There's a lot of different ways you can make a hand, but trying to get through this a little quicker than normal. Not to say it's not to say I'm rushing through the correct technique, but as long as it works, and there's a lot of techniques you can use. Anyways. Okay, so that'll work for the base of the fingers. Let's go ahead and start working on the fingers themselves. I'm going to grab all of these guys. Actually, let me just deselect everything. Grab all these guys. I'm just going to go ahead and scale it down quite a bit. Bring it in. And we're going to go ahead and just extrude out all the way like we did with the arms and legs. Since this is kind of at an angle, the top view is not really going to help too much. Okay, and now we'll go ahead and add a couple of more. You know what? Anatomically speaking, you know, a finger, of course, has 3 joints. The one at the knuckle and then 2 along the inside. But I'm just going to give it 1 joint. And then we'll make the tip of it a little bit bigger, like so. Kind of round off the bottom of it, about like that. And then we'll add another loop up here, and then another one inside for that finger crease around the knuckle out here. Go ahead and give him a little bit of an upraised area there for his knuckle. Okay, and let's go ahead and put another loop down here, and maybe just come to our top view and kind of clean up the topology of it a little bit. Topology, if you're not familiar, is basically the way that the model is constructed. The shape and it's hard to find a good analogy for it. Kind of like if you build a house, before you put up, you know, the sheetrock and the walls and everything, you have the structure, the skeleton made out of, you know, the framework. That's kind of what topology is. It's basically the framework of your model. And if you do it well, your model will animate and deform with the bones and everything more correctly. Okay, so I like that finger quite a bit. Let's add a couple of more loops down here so we can kind of do like we did on there. Right there, have a nice little crease there with a knuckle. Bring that up. Spread it out a little bit. Okay, so now to save some time, instead of fashioning each finger, I'm just going to copy this guy over to the other ones. So let's grab all of these loops here, and just to be quick, just turn on the selection painter thing there. Shift D will duplicate that. We can just drag it over and then kind of rotate it to where it'll fit. Make it a tiny bit bigger. Since this is a pinky, actually probably should make that a little bit smaller. About like so. Okay. And now, before we start sewing this together, I need to get rid of these faces. And you know, while I'm at it, I'll go ahead and get rid of the faces on these guys as well. And just delete just the faces. Okay. So we'll grab this guy, Control L, grab all the rest of it, kind of move it into position, and then commence. Actually, before we commence to sewing it together, let's go ahead and duplicate it over to the other one. I'm trying to decide if I want to go ahead and just give him 3 fingers. Yeah, I think I will. We'll just give him 3 fingers. And I'll do this. I'll fix this area here shortly. Let me go ahead and sew this together. Just grab our edge select mode there and just select each one of these faces like this. And actually, that needs to be lined up a little bit better. Grab that finger and move it down. And there we go. Let's go ahead and grab this edge, and we're going to go W smooth. Give it a few iterations. Scale it up. Grab this guy. Same thing. Smooth. Scale it up. That way they hopefully will go together a little bit better. Keep hitting 1 to go to the front view, and it's not exact lined up the way I want it to, so I gotta keep rotating back around. Okay, so now grab those F, same thing we did on the ends of the arm earlier. Just grab those, and it creates a face. And face. And one more. There we go. Okay, so now I need to clean this whole area up. Let's just grab all these 3, W smooth, get those down there, drag it a little closer to the hand. Grab that vertex there in the back. Okay, so that's looking pretty good. Let's work on that knuckle right there. It's kind of lopsided there. Bring this whole area up. Let's go ahead and turn on our proportional editing back. There we go. Connected. Set our influence way down. Grab the top of the hand. It's sticking up a little too high, I think. Okay, so those fingers are looking pretty nice. Let's go ahead and turn the smooth on there. Okay. So let me jump in here, and let's tell you what, just grab that vertex, delete, and save vertex. And then I guess we'll need to get rid of these as well. There we go. And we can probably now just go ahead and grab those 2. Alt-M will merge them together, and we want to do it at the center. Do the same thing on this side. Alt-M, merge at the center. Okay. Now doing this is going to give the index finger one more subdivision across the middle of it right there. Control R, just go ahead and add one. But to me, this is a more important finger than these 2 when it comes to animation, because this was the only one that you really, if you're pointing at something, you know, you'll use the index finger. Otherwise, these are kind of just supporting characters, if you will. So, in my opinion, it's okay to have a little bit more detail. On the index finger. So, grab all these guys, scale them down. And then we'll grab the index finger, Control L, bring it over here, and kind of do like we did on the middle finger there. Go and grab these. Grab the 2 and hit F to create faces between them. And I can see I'm going to have a lot of cleanup to do. once we get this attached. So we'll get it attached, and there we go. Okay, so now I need to, wow, that is messy. Let's clean that up. Grab those guys, move them up, and then let's grab these guys, move them back a little bit, smooth this out some. Oops, wrong one, there we go. Let's try this. That's we could go through here and clean it up vertex by vertex, but let's see if we can't expedite it a little bit and just select all these guys, all these loops right here at the beginning of the finger, and why not these here as well. And we will, and you know what, why not that one too. Go ahead and W smooth, and it'll make them a little bit smaller, but it'll clean them up at least. So let's kind of get this situated a little bit better. I'll grab this loop here, and I'm going to Alt S, and that's going to scale it along its normals, which at this point, since I just have that one loop selected, it's basically the same thing as just hitting S. If you grab two of them, Alt S basically scales, it's scaling along the normal, which, as I explained before, is basically the direction that the face is pointing. And if you just scale it normally, it just makes it bigger, you know, based on where it's at. But if you scale it along its normals, like we'll just grab this whole finger. And if you scale it, you can see it just makes it bigger. But if you Alt S, scale it along its normals, you can make it skinnier or fatter. So what I'm going to do is grab this loop here, Control Alt, and I click on that and grabs the whole the edges around there. I'll just go ahead and scale it up. And we're getting close. Now we just need to, after I get this knuckle here cleaned up a little bit better, we're just going to need to make the thumb, and then maybe fashion the palm a little bit. Hopefully when we go to animate this, this topology will be acceptable and will deform properly as it should. Okay, so in the vein of the other fingers, you know what, let me bring this down here, and this one too. And you know what? Okay, this one should come down as well. Okay. Okay, there we go. And as I was saying, in the vein of the other fingers, to make the thumb, we'll just select, I guess we can select the index finger. The thumb also is an important individual digit. So we'll bring that over here, maybe scale it down a little bit, maybe Alt S to make it a little bit, if I can get it properly, there we go, a little bit fatter. And let's grab these and just W smooth those up a little bit. There we go. Grab the base, move it up, maybe scale it up a little. Okay, now let's move this into position, probably about right there, and then we'll jump in here and work on the hand, get it lined up a little bit better. Get it prepared to attach the thumb. And we'll go ahead and add a loop right there. And we can probably grab this loop here and drag it up. And then we can just grab this vertex, hit delete, and then we'll have a nice hole there to start sewing our thumb to our hand. So the same thing we did with the other fingers. Oh, gotta deselect those other ones first. There we go. edge. There we go. Okay. So there we have our hand. Now we just need to clean it up a little bit. Tell you what, let's just grab these loops and do like we did with all the other guys. And, you know, go ahead and turn that to vertex select. There we go. And W smooth just to get everything cleaned up. And now we can start shaping the palm area a little better. Let's go to our view here. I want to drag this. Oops, hit Alt-A on accident. Sometimes if you do that, or not sometimes, every time you hit Alt-A, it starts your timeline player. And we are not working on that right now. That comes later on, once we get to our animation section, which I'm not sure what part that'll be. We're on part 7 now, so it'll probably be a ways off. Okay, so we got our basic hand shape going on. Okay, not looking too bad. Let's go ahead and make it look a little bit better. Grab these guys, and not that one. Rotate that, maybe scale it up a little bit. Kind of looks deformed now that it's only 3 fingers, but we'll make it work. It's a cartoon for you. Let's make the wrist a little bit smaller. Let's grab these guys. And maybe this one as well. There we go. And you know what? Let's add another loop in here. And let's move this finger a little to the... There we go. And let's make it a little bit bigger. Now comes the what I like to call nitpicky details. If I was working on this on my own as as a normal project, not a tutorial series, I'm sure I would spend a lot more time getting this situated a certain way, but I think that's going to be okay for now for our methods. Let's grab that knuckle there, scale it up a little bit. Same thing here. Okay, I think that'll work. Let's see what it looks like compared to the rest. Pretty small compared to the rest of the body, so let's grab that one. I know I wanted to make the hands quite a bit larger than the feet, so we'll just scale that up. Kind of zoom out so we can see it in comparison to the rest of the body. And that'll probably be about right. Maybe give it a slight turn there. Ooh, I just noticed my time's running over. 23 minutes. Let me do a couple of more things here. Grab this. Check and see if proportional editing was on, and it was. The fall off was just too small. Okay. Okay. I think the arms are done. Now let's Control L and move the whole shebang in to where it's actually touching the shoulder area. And there we go. I'd kind of like to, I mean, this looks fine, I guess, but I'd like to make the body and arms and legs a little smaller, make the head significantly bigger than it should be in real life proportions. So let's select everything here. Control L. We'll just select everything except for the head. And let's put our 3D cursor right here at the base of the neck. And then just go to our side view, put it right there. And we're going to scale it along the 3D cursor, which we just put at the base of the neck. So we can do one of two things. We can go right here and go 3D cursor, and then anything we do rotates or scales around that point. Or you can also just hit the period key on your normal keyboard, and it does the same thing. If you want to go back to rotate around what you have selected, it's basically its center, you just go median point right there, and then out of all these selected, that's basically the middle where it's selected. So, but I want to scale it from the 3D cursor. So, period, and let's just go to our front view and just scale it down to about a little bit more, about right there, I think. And you know, looking at this, I think I need to make the feet a little bit bigger too. So let's go ahead and control comma. That's the same thing as going to median point. So let's just scale those up a little bit. There we go. Okay, I think that'll work. Yeah, I'm liking that. Might tweak the torso a little bit, but we're over 5 minutes over the time here, so let's go ahead and save as part 7, and that will be all for part 7. I'd like to save. And thanks for watching. I'll see you in part 8.